Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first episode of Crane Talks. My name is Timberline7, better known as Travis. With me today is the Hack Job.
What's happening?
And right below, you can see we have Moose Lee 5. Moose, what's going on, buddy?
How's it going, man? How you doing?
Doing all good, but I'm a little, we had a little bit of a trip trying to get all this set up and get going, but I think we're good here. We got this learning curve going for our new blue collar working man crane operator, podcast.
Yeah, it's definitely a learning curve.
So being that the fact that we are, on opposite ends of the country, Zoom meetings will have to suffice until maybe someday we get a little money and actually make a studio and fly all of us together and be like professional with the earphones in the room with the microphone hanging down and being all cool like that.
Hey, worse things have happened in this world, so I mean,
I know, right?
I want one of those microphones that hang down like the referee in this corner.
Oh, dude, yeah, like
hang from a cable.
Intro to wrestling.
Yeah, just have it swinging around in the podcast.
That would be great.
Microphone operator to catch his drift.
So, that's a good one. One of the first topics that we are for this pilot episode is one of the major questions that we get asked all the time, and that is, how do you get into crane operating? How do you become an operator? The steps to take, the different paths to take, because I know all three of us took a different path to be getting into the seat. So, I mean, what do we got here? Kenny, why don't you start us off, man? How you took the union path?
Well, I followed my old man's footsteps. He was in cranes for about 40 years. Half of it was union, half of it was non. He moved to where he's at now and joined the union. He's been retired for 10 years this year, but he joined the union. And when I turned 18, it was nothing. He took me down to the hall, signed me up, and the rest is history. This year marks number 16 years I've been doing cranes and rigging through the union. A lot of it was hard knock, and I took it upon myself to make my own name. I didn't want to ride my dad's coattail. A lot of people do that when they join unions or any industry for that matter. They ride a family name, and the skill seems to dwindle through the generations. So
no, totally.
I've taken it upon myself to work at what I do. When I was young, 20 years old, running 340 foot in a Manitowoc 999 at Lucas Oil Stadium, I got looked at. They're like, "Oh, that little brat kid's in that crane." Well, this brat kid was going to make a name, So basically, I joined the union and I just put in the effort. I took the crap jobs, I took the jobs nobody wanted, I took the one-day jobs, and I just stepped and I just worked and it's what I wanted. I had, what else am I going to do? Go out and party? No, I was making money working and I was having fun doing it. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, how I just got into this and how I stuck with it. Just the only thing I've ever wanted to do, and I just poured my soul into it.
So how long? A lot of guys, they just want to go straight to the seat, right? And everyone starts off. You start off as the rigger, the oiler. You start on the ground before you ever get a chance to get in the seat. But the question for you is, how long did it take you before you actually got like your first crane? How long were you the ground man?
Year and a half. But not toot my own horn, some people have a natural ability. So I was working hard. I mean, I was oiling, I was working for my old man, and he made it way harder than it needed to be on me. He wanted to break, any bad habits from the beginning. And then I looked up one day and I would fill in here, fill in there, and I was like thrown in a seat. That's why I say one of my first cranes was a big Manitowoc. And from there on, I don't really know what to say. Wow.
It all kind of fell into place.
It fell into place, exactly. And then later on in my career, I had more desire to get back out of the seat and get back under the hook, because I didn't have near the time under the hook that I pushed for a lot of guys to have. It's great training. If you're good out there and you understand what goes on out there, you'll be even better in the seat.
No, I
Good
totally
to know
agree
both
with
sides of the equation.
So, well, Moose, you started out in the shipyards, non-union work. So, I mean, coming up like that requires a lot of persistence, drive, and a little bit of luck to find that opening, to get your opportunity to get into the seat. And then, you know, once you start getting that experience based and you're able to run with it. Why don't you tell me your story, man?
So like you said, man, I pretty much started in the shipyard working a different trade and stumbled into rigging and started on the ground like everyone should when they get into cranes. You know, you need to know both sides of it. And I pretty much started rigged for like a good year and a half, 2 years. And it was a lucky, unfortunate incident where an older operator started having one issue after another that kind of made him leave and go and retire, and pretty much opened up the seat for me to take over. And every once in a while, I'd get up there with the supervision of a licensed operator
Mhm.
until they were comfortable enough to send me to a school, take a 40-hour class, and pretty much pass my test and get my license. And from there, the rest is history. I just pretty much kept running with it, learning from everyone I could. You know, any old time operators come in, I'd learn their tricks and watch what they do. They do things for a certain reason that make their life a lot easier on them, you know? So
Oh yeah.
if you're
Definitely.
smart enough to look, watch, and pick up those little tips and tricks, I mean, they're out there. So I just kept doing that and moved up until I joined on with the union. And
Mhm.
now I'm in tower cranes. Went from hydraulic cranes to tower cranes, and now I'm way up in the air.
No, I totally agree with you. It's amazing what you could learn from the old timers without them really even teaching you. If you're
Mhm.
just passionate and you got the drive and you're conscious and aware of what's going on around you, you know, just watch what they do. And, you know,
Absolutely.
like you said, they're doing it for a reason.
Mhm.
So,
Watch what they do and ask questions. You see them do that, ask them, why'd you do that? And what's this? What's that? That's the
mhm.
big thing. 'Cause a lot of old timers won't say, come here, let me show you. You know, they just do it. And if you don't do it their way, they might thump you on the head once or twice. But sometimes if you can crack that shell, it's the best thing could ever happen. You know,
Yeah.
they'll pour out into you if they know that you want it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, we kind of heard how us and how we got into it. How'd you get into it, Travis?
Well, I came up to the military. I joined the Army Reserves in 2011 as a truck driver, an 88 Mike, and I was driving truck on the civilian side as well. You know, fast forward 10 years, I'm still driving truck super load for the company that I currently work for. And when I joined an engineering unit, there were 12 Novembers, heavy equipment operators, and they had a 22-ton crane. I said, hey, I work for a crane company. I'm not a crane operator myself, but I've been around them. Whenever time we haul counterweights, or you know, you haul product out that's going to get used by or picked by the crane, never sit in the truck. I always was out there helping these guys pin the beams, helping them land mats, helping them rig up. And, you know, it was just that drive that they saw a driver kind of stand out. So the Army sent me to school to be a crane operator, to their school. And so I became our unit's crane operator on a little dinky 22-ton. It ain't nothing to what's really out there in the commercial sector and industrial sector. But with that, I was able to go to the union and my company and say, hey, I want to be an operator. And they're like, all right, well, you gotta be an oiler first. You gotta be a grunt and a ground guy, which that might have been the hardest part of going from like number 4 heavy haul driver to a grunt nobody, but it was well worth it. I put in, similar to Kenny, I put in a year and a half on the ground, chased every bit of knowledge I could, tried to learn every crane that they had, and had to get, then went after my civilian CCO because my military license didn't transfer over. So, and then once I got my CCO on the civilian side, I pestered them some more. It's like, give me a boom truck. They're like, all right, I have a boom truck. So, been tearing it up ever since.
Sweet.
There you go.
And I love the small cranes, man. That's where it's at for
Yeah.
me, because you always stay busy. I know each one of you, we all kind of represent a style of crane. Why
Mhm.
did you choose
Absolutely.
your particular crane of choice?
Go ahead, Moose.
My crane, kind of by chance for the most part. The guy that really talked me into becoming a crane operator in the first place uh left the shipyard and went into the union and everything, got a tower crane license, and pretty much told me it's a whole different world and I really need to kick myself in the butt and get moving and give it a shot. So I gave it a shot, and I'm head over heels for it. I love it. I absolutely love the climb early in the morning, getting to see the sun rise, the late nights where I get to see the sunset and everything,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
just being up above everyone to where I get to see a view not many people get to see.
Oh, I've seen your TikToks, man. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous watching the sun climb up the mountains and start setting on them hills.
Seeing pictures and videos like it almost make me want to go get my tower crane and be a part of it, but I don't want to.
I've thought about it like as a bucket list kind of thing, do a handful of jobs just to kind of say that you've done it. Whether
Mhm.
I could make a career in a tower, I don't think so.
No, after joining, leaving one small mom and pop rental barn and going to a small iron outfit, all I did was set iron with a little 218 for a year straight. Like I thought that's what it was. It just get you a spot, sit down, and coast. Mm-mm. Too young. I got too much ambition in this career to do that.
Mhm.
That's an older guy's that's on his way out, gig just to float and get out of there. You know what I mean? I couldn't do it no more. If I had to sit down on a job that's what I was going to do for a year better, I got to have the variety um, with what rental barn brings. So it's just where I'm at. So
So you seem to have a real passion for like crawlers, and you're kind of known as our crawler hand. How do you feel about your crawlers, man? Crawlers or ATs?
crawlers all day, unless you go like 500-ton bigger.
Mhm.
I have fallen in love with like the 1500 Lee Bears, the 1750, which has kind of become my baby here in the last couple of years. I've moved two of them around between Georgia and Tennessee and Indiana constantly. But crawlers all day long, like I don't know, they just look cool to me. The tracks, the lattice boom, the bigger ones when you get a back mast on it, some of the counterweight wagons, just the complexity, but yet the simplicity of it all. It looks so complex, but it pins together. Like this
Mhm.
piece goes here and this piece goes here. But when you see all the pieces blown apart, it's just wow. There's so many pieces. It's like a yin and a yang, if you will. It's a mental thing. Just keeps my brain constantly churning and thinking about the next couple moves. An AT, you put luffers or wing on them. That gets into some thinking and some planning. But counterweight, swing out, pick it up, square it out, pick. Counterweight, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah. Trust,
monotonous,
it gets repetitive.
And to me, I like the mental stimulation that comes with it.
Mhm.
So
So as we kind of we're not going to drag this one, our first pilot episode, out horribly long. Um, what are your final tips for anybody that's new, that has no idea what, they're fresh to the industry, they have the desire, they have the drive, they want to be an operator, they just don't know where to start. What would you recommend? How would you go about it? What do you look for in a company?
I really wouldn't say company. I'd say personal. Never be too good to learn ever. No matter how
Mhm.
long you've been in it. No matter this guy taught you this way. Okay, we'll learn that guy's way. Be very fluid in this industry. Retain all the information you can. Do the same thing 14 different ways. Then eventually you'll find your way of doing it as a blend of all the
Oh
different
yeah.
ways. So that's kind of the biggest tip and pointer I give green guys, young guys, new guys that are into this. Just be fluid about it and be humble. Don't argue. This guy will be cantankerous. This guy will be whatever way you want to do it kind of guy. So
Mhm.
just be fluid with it.
Well, most what is your biggest recommendation?
Well, I think Kenny kind of nailed it, but as for like getting into a company, he was right. Don't look for a certain company because That's where you're going to be learning. That's where you're going to make your original mistakes and everything. Plan on just trying to get in somewhere, get your feet on the ground, start on the ground. Don't be a teenager thinking I'm just going to jump in a crane. I'm going to be this big badass crane operator. You want to start on the ground, and that's where you're going to get the most learning. That's where you're going to see how the operator is doing it, and you're going to see what you need to look for as an operator in the future. You're going to get a lot of knowledge all at one time.
Nice. So yeah, no, Kenny nailed it. It's more about the mindset than anything else going into it, to have the drive, because you don't go into something messing with the situations that these cranes get into half-assing it.
That's right. That's really right. Hope with what is it? I can't remember. I'll think of it later. But hope with something is a flawed tactic. So I can't remember. But
all right. Well, I think we'll call this what it is. Being that it's our pilot episode. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to add before we kind of give our closing comment?
Keep the glass pointed upward.
All right. Well, hey, if you listen to this podcast this far, we really appreciate it. This is something that we've been experimenting with and talking for a while now. I hope you enjoyed it. Please, leave a comment, subscribe to wherever we happen to post this. Stay tuned for more. Give us some more ideas. We'd love to.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
sit here and talk about cranes and equipment and things that we're passionate about, man. And if you share that passion, spread the word, dude, so we could keep this going. We could start making more of these.
Definitely. I'm a crane nerd, and these other two obviously are crane nerds as well. And if you're a crane nerd like us, let's make the cranes a real community, like you see the truck drivers and everything out there doing.
That, or even if you're just starting off, a lot of the questions and a lot of what we've built on TikTok have been from questions, whether it be from the youth wondering if cranes are the route that they should take, or should I go be a carpenter or do this or that. That's what we've built off of, is just taking those questions on. So we definitely want to hear questions, anything you guys want to know.
Yep. Roger that.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, stay tuned for our next podcast. We are talking about maybe putting these out once a month, maybe once every other week. So we'll kind of see how it goes. We're playing this pretty loosely right now. So you guys take care, and thank you again for listening. This is Timberline with Cranetalks.
See ya.
See you guys.